And when he hears me tinkle, he jumps from the shadows and says, "Mom, what are you doing? Why are you peeing out of your butt?"
This week I'm joined by Go Acuario. So what did you bring to us this week, Ellen?
I brought my favorite comedian, Mike Birbiglia.
I just have a few minutes, so I'm going to tell you one story. And it's true. I always have to tell people before I tell them the story, because inevitably someone comes up to me after the show and they'll be like, "Was that true?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Was it?" I don't know how to respond to that. Like, I guess I could say it louder, like, "Yeah!" And they'd be like, "It's probably true, he said it louder."
I love that he opens it with this, because it gets you like sucked in. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my god, it must be really wacky, because he's prefacing it with like, "This was true."
Yeah.
So it gets you more interested in what he's about to say, but also
That's a good point. I didn't think of it like as a setup.
Yeah.
To the like, this is where before you even think that this is not true, it's true.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
And he is so charming.
Yes.
It's hard to even describe how he does it, but he is. And so he's kind of like shitting on a lot of his fans that'll come up to him after a show and be like, "Hey, was that?" They love him obviously, and they want to talk to him, and they're just saying like, "Oh, that was crazy. Was that true?"
Right.
But he does it in such a way that it's funny and it's cute, and it doesn't sound at all like he looks down on these people.
Right. Although from the fan perspective, it probably could have been a douchey incident, but he's like turned it around like, no. This is my story, and I'm truthful about it.
But it's, when I was about 19, I had a malignant tumor in my bladder for about a week. But it's funny because, stay with me.
I think his timing is he has some of the best comedic timing I've ever seen. It sounds very conversational, but he also does it like he's like, "Well, it's funny," and he doesn't pause just long enough to
and right at the mark where people are like, this is a comedy show, right? We're talking about malignant tumor. Oh, it gets funny though. Just stick with me.
Because I'm a hypochondriac, and I think the funniest thing that can happen to a hypochondriac is they get cancer, because it confirms every fear you've ever had in your life. You're just like, "See? I told you." Remember last week when I was overtired and I thought I had rickets? I was probably right about that too. There's gonna be a lot of changes around here, And, I found out I was driving home for Christmas break from college from Washington, D.C. to Massachusetts. Those are places in America.
Okay, I just have to say this. I've been to Just for Laughs in Montreal, I think 5 years in a row now.
Oh.
And every year, without fail, there's an American comedian who makes some kind of little joke like this, like, "Oh, that's America." Like, obviously knowing that everyone in the audience knows what they're talking about.
Right.
And without fail, the audience always like.
Okay,
laugh
so
at it.
this part, I didn't get why it was so funny.
Oh.
But
yeah,
I guess it works. Because the laughter in that bit is very like
palpable.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, did I miss like an underlining of that joke? And then he says DC and Massachusetts. I'm like, duh.
Right.
Halfway home, I stop at a rest stop to pee. I don't mean to be graphic. This is just what happened. There was blood in my pee. I know. How do you think I felt?
I feel like there's a lot of comedians who will be graphic without qualms,
Yes.
And he's like, "Look, I don't mean to be graphic," and he's such a. You watch that and you're like, whatever's coming, it's like
right. It can't be that bad.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whoa, blood in the pee.
And he seems sincere when he's like apologizing ahead of time for it. And
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, this guy."
Yeah. That's true. I think there are, just like dropping the F-bomb relentlessly.
Right.
Those are like, well, after a while it gets tiring, but that he's not setting out to just set you up for just like a
shock.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the shock factor, and he wants you with him. So it's like, hold on, be with me.
I knew it could mean like 5 things, and 3 of them mean I die, and the other 2 aren't exactly a trip to the Bahamas either. And so I get home like 2:30 in the morning. I woke up my dad. I told him what happened. He had a very grave look on his face because he's a doctor, so he knows about the Bahamas. And he took me to see a urologist. Now, I didn't know at the time what urologists do. I was very naive, and we went in, he goes, could you put your hands on the table? And I was like, all right, I can put my hands on the table. And then he stuck his finger, but I didn't know that was gonna happen. And so I shouted, I go, oh my God! And he got mad at me. He was like, cut the theatrics. And I felt so bad. I was like, sorry about the theatrics, you know, like as though I had intended it. Like, this'll be my big moment. When he sticks his finger up my ass, I'll prove I should be the star of our town, you know. So he goes, listen, Mike, you gotta come in tomorrow morning for what's called a cystoscopy. And doctors always dress this stuff up. He goes, it's no big deal. You come in, they put an IV in, you fall asleep, you wake up, you eat a muffin, you go home. I was like, all right, you know, that sounds pretty good. Still a little shaken up from the table incident, but just out of curiosity, like, what is specifically a cystoscopy? And then he picked up a rod that was about 4 feet long, and he goes, there's a camera on the end of this.
I love when comedians use props that they have on stage, like the stool or the mic stand or the mic.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
And to think to use that, because obviously it's more like a little camera tube, but then he's like, let me get my point across with, you know, and now the whole audience is like cringing, like, what? That went through your fetus? I feel for you now. And he's got them on his side.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you know, with stand-up comedy, it's a monologue. It's just you. So if you have the opportunity to use these things that you have on stage, I mean, if you can, if it fits with your story or your bit, like, go for it. It adds so much.
Yeah.
And we stick it through your urethra to look into your bladder. And I said, I feel like you glossed over a few details in the initial description. I feel like there was too much emphasis on the muffin and not enough emphasis on the fishing rod you're sticking into my number 3 body part on E's Top 100 Sexiest Body Parts. And he said, I concur. And the next morning, that might be a fabrication, that I concur. And while I was under, they found something with the scope. They find like an item, you know, and they decide that they're gonna keep me under and then put me under further so that they can take it out. So they put me under the street equivalent of horse tranks. I don't react to drugs very well. I'm the guy, if you're ever smoking pot in a group, who's like, do you guys hate me? You know, like, who's at the door? Who's at the door? Who's at the door? Who's at... Why does my heart hurt? Is that rickets? You know, I'm not proud of that, right? I'm not just who I am. So my voice gets very loud, too. I wake up in the recovery room. It's mostly elderly people. But in my brain, it was like a dance club. I was like, this place is awesome. We should come here all the time. I don't know why we didn't come sooner. Dad's always here. And my mother's mortified. She's like, shh. I was like, oh, all right. Do you hate me? So we get home, and it's a waiting game with all this medical stuff. For about a week we had to wait for the biopsy to come back, and so for a week in my life I thought I might die, which is an incredible experience if you ever have the chance, because you'll talk to God even if you're not sure there's a God. You'll just talk to anyone who might be available. You'll just be like, God, Allah, the elephant thing from Hinduism, Harry Potter, like, is anyone available? Because I'm brand loyal to Jesus, but I'm not stubborn. You know what I mean? Like I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy as a kid, and the answer is no. I wasn't, and
he knows where the audience is going, and then he just is able to like cash in on that element.
Doesn't skip a beat.
Yeah, and that's like, that when I see comedians able to do that, like, that's genius.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because they knew I was a talker. You know, I have that look about me, and I was so bad at it. I think they thought, well, if he's this bad at lighting candles, wink, you know, that kind of thing. But like, Well, the point is,
I love that he goes into this huge aside. All he's saying is like, I had to wait a week to get my results.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Trip down memory lane.
Yeah. And maybe he really was a theater kid because he does add a lot of theatrics. Like, oh, wank, just like on the octaves he goes and the voices that he pulls out. It all adds to it.
But I think that's just, if you can do that well, that's, I think, the key to long-form comedy is just going off on these asides and still making it funny and then still being able to bring it back.
the point is that I was very fortunate. The biopsy came back, and it turned out that they had found a malignant tumor in my bladder, but that they caught it early enough so I didn't have to come back, except every 6 months as a precaution, I have to go in for one of these. I know. But it's okay, because afterwards, I eat a muffin. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you around.
It's fun to see how people can close their stories.
Yeah.
This was just a callback to the muffin.
Yeah.
It's obviously something that's still like scary for him because he has to go back and it could always like come back.
And that thing he does always that's one of the things I've noticed about his set, that you get taken on this wild journey through, and then he always brings back but here's the thing, and then everybody quiets down and you're like, what are you gonna say now? Pause. But the muffin. It's like the muffin, and you think it's gonna be some revelation, but it ends with the muffin. Yeah. And it's so that's beautiful. I should have looked this up. What is rickets?
I was hoping.
I mean, obviously it's something serious.
I'm looking it up. Neither of us know.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you don't know. Okay, well, I didn't have a doctor or a parent,
it's
so.
an old-timey thing.
Okay, that's what I thought. Isn't it like an extinct thing?
Yeah, extremely rare. Softening and weakening of bones in children.
Okay.
Usually due to inadequate.
Okay, I was like, I probably should have looked it up because I'm such a fan, but I also thought, it sounds old. I think that's his, magic.
Yeah.
So wait, where am I looking? Am I looking there or am I looking at you? I can look wherever? Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're going. Okay. Was that good?
Yeah.
Did I chat up too much? I'm sorry. I don't know. It was like, where am I looking? Did I talk a lot? Was it too much? Okay.
That's fine.
All right. I should have looked at your other videos more. That was my homework, and then I didn't know.
Now, I didn't know at the time what urologists do. I was very naive, and we went in. He goes, "Could you put your hand?"
I feel everyone knows what urologists do, right?
Okay, so I did not.
Oh.